all, and welcome to the Movie Bears podcast. I'm Bradley Harris, and along with some of my fellow husky, hairy, huggable homos and friends, we review films, either current or classic, on the show. And this episode, we are bringing you a whole lot of current films. We're catching up with Project Hail Mary, the new sci-fi film starring Ryan Gosling, in theaters now, as well as cracking open the lid on our coverage of South by Southwest Film and TV 2026. That's right, South by has concluded. All the movie screens have gone dark with South by movies and gone bright with non-South by movies. But we've got a bunch that we're going to be talking about probably over the next few episodes, maybe even on down the line as some of them continue to roll and come out as they're picked up for distribution. But this marks part one of our South by coverage, but that's after our Project Hail Mary talk. So if you're here for Project Hail Mary, hello, we're glad you're here. Welcome. Feel free to stay after that review and hear about South by and some films you're definitely going to want to catch up with once they are available to see. And spoiler alert, one of the ones we're going to talk about, it's in theaters right now. You can go see it. So stay tuned. But let me introduce you to my fabulous co-host. I say fabulous because the He-Man trailer came out today. Fabulous secret powers that have been on my mind all day. And when I think of people who are fabulous and have superpowers, I think of these two wonderful people. Jim Pugliafico is in the virtual and physical studio with us. You can see his guitar in the background if you're watching the video version of the show, and you should check that out sometime because Jim and our other co-host are pretty freaking handsome. You don't want to miss them. But babe, welcome to the show. I know we've been away for a couple weeks because of South by and stuff, but how the hell are you doing?
I'm doing good. Keeping myself busy. South by was a thing. It basically soaked up all the time for about a week this year. We'll talk about that more later in the show, but it was a blast. Suffice it to say, haven't really seen many movies since I kind of took a break from movies for the last week since South by ended, thankfully. But we'll get back to it once movies start to gear back up again and I get back in the in the mood to get into a movie theater after being in there for a week. But yeah, I'm ready to go and talk about this movie that's coming up. Project Hail Mary is the, at least for now, at this point in time, it's the big release that's out there. And I'm excited to talk about it with you guys because there's a lot there.
Indeed, there's so much to discuss. Can't wait to get into it. But before we do, we got to hear from our other handsome, delectable, sexy member of the Movie Bears podcast crew, William Lindis. Hey, Will, coming to us from our kitchen with that customary big cock over your shoulder, just kind of up there.
How are you? That's where he has to put it. It's just
you just kind of heft it up, and there it goes. It's always such a good time to record with y'all. We got to hang out a lot during South by Southwest, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of that here as we go through some of our kind of findings and experiences and such. But the nice thing about y'all being here is that it's, while we always get to hang out for South by Southwest, usually at the other side of it, y'all are getting on a plane, going back home, and then I'll see you again 6 months to a year. And now it's like, well, I've seen you a couple of times since then already, and it's been great. So no, I can't think of anyone else I would rather be talking movies with tonight.
Well, I love that you have become like sometimes a multi-time in a week part of our lives now that we live here in Austin. It's been great seeing you and Scott and the pups and going out to movies and dinner and all the things. But it's really great to be able to, especially like when we hit the stop button, when we're done with the show, we walk out of our respective rooms until we can get this recording in person thing sorted. We've been trying. Ask Jim and Will about my anxiety attacks while trying to figure it out. They'll tell you.
Yeah.
And thank you guys for your grace with me. I'm not super technical when it comes to AV stuff. Put a phone or a computer in front of me. I'm your guy, but don't you dare hold up a XLR. What is it? things
Yeah,
that
as
are all
soon as
connected.
we solve for the issue of audio bleed, we're going to be golden. But
Yeah.
that's one thing
Yeah.
we can control. We can figure out what plugs into what and which computers and all that stuff. But what we can't control is just the sound of our own voices bouncing around the room.
Yeah.
I know. We'll get there. But for now,
So
I'm content.
so you were a geek or a nerd in school, but you weren't the AV nerd. Is that what
I
I'm
was
hearing?
not. I mean, I got to run the projector, which was cool.
Oh,
But
okay.
remember, I lived in a small farm town, so like even in 1995, like a projector was like still the
Yeah.
main way we
You
watched
didn't have to
stuff.
wire it up. And all
Brad
that
was a
shit.
V nerd, not an A nerd.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
Okay.
I've definitely worked a projector, but it was super cool. I never got to operate like the VCR though, VCR TV combo, and I'm a little bitter about that.
Yeah.
Mrs. Clark in ninth grade English Romeo and Juliet, if you're watching. I hope you're watching. I hope you're still alive. You were super cool, just FYI. Anyway, we're here. We have a ton to talk about. We're going to dive into it. Jim, Will, Project Hail Mary is first on our list, and Will is going to be kicking that conversation off for us. But before we get into that review, just some quick housekeeping for you. If it's been a hot minute since you've listened to the show, it's been a hot minute since we recorded. We've been off for a couple weeks. Our format, when we talk about a new film, especially, is we're totally spoiler free for about the first 10 minutes or so. We give some high level, just thoughts and impressions of the film from our perspective, unlike a lot of other shows that are like, no spoilers, but when Darth Vader was revealed to be, someone's father, oh, geez, don't do that podcast, please. Anyway, we got you. We will protect you. We will give you plenty of warning before we open things up to spoilers. So if you have not yet seen Project Hail Mary, all of that said, don't worry. Feel free to hang out with us for a few minutes for that initial review. We'll let you know when to go make a sandwich for 15 minutes and then come back for the South by talk. I see we got a bunch of people hanging out with us live on the live stream. Hey, everybody, welcome. Good to see y'all. Feel free to say hi in the chat. Drop your thoughts on the movie and things we're talking about as we go. You are part of our show. We love and adore you. Please feel free to join in. But all that said, housekeeping is done. I'm exhausted. I've put the broom away, a robot vacuum. It still counts though if I program it, right? That's housekeeping, I think. Yeah, totally.
We'll allow it. Yeah.
Here we go. Our discussion of Project Hail Mary. All right. So I know that obviously trailers for this film have been out there for a while now. The most recent trailer just before it came out kind of gives everything away. There's a big discussion on the internet right now. Like, do you go in blind without watching the trailers or do you watch all the trailers? I don't know how it hits for y'all. But if you have a thought, feel free to share that. But Will, if you don't mind, for anyone who has somehow missed trailers or isn't sure what Project Hail Mary is, give us a setup for this one and your initial spoiler-free, of course, impressions.
Absolutely. So based off of the novel by Andy Weir, who is the same guy that wrote The Martian, which was adapted to the movie with Matt Damon a few years back, comes Project Hail Mary, directed by Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, who have directed, well, at this point, just a bunch of things, including the Lego movie. Drew Goddard comes on board to help adapt the script. And basically the premise of it is, and you're absolutely right, Brad, I'm going to talk around the spoiler section because there is something the trailers do pretty bad, I think, in my opinion. The description here is you've got this science teacher played by Ryan Gosling. He wakes up alone on a spaceship. He looks around. There's no one else with him, or if there is anyone else with him, they've long since died. He doesn't remember why he's there. He doesn't remember what his mission is, but through the course of flashbacks and sort of his memory coming back to him, he starts to realize that what he's supposed to do there is going to be a mission that may perhaps save all of Earth and all of mankind. But the odds are stacked against him. He doesn't have his memory fully back, but he does get one added benefit, and that comes in the form of a thing that we'll not talk about in this section. The reason I struggle a little bit about this is the trailers themselves sort of drop what that unexpected kind of like extra resource is right up front in the middle of it. Whereas I'd read the book last year, and that's hinted nowhere on the book jacket. So when that particular thing happens, it was like an oh my fucking god moment. And I do worry that maybe some film goers aren't going to get that same experience that I had. So all of that. That said, this is a very good movie. This is a very good movie. I don't, just because there's this one marketing element, which let's be honest, I understand the reason why you want to get people to show up, and people are showing up. This movie is making money, and it's getting a lot of attention, even from people who are kind of like the 1 or 2 times a year movie people. What I like so much about this is, first of all, Ryan Gosling plays this character that I think is pretty difficult role to play, in that you have to carry the bulk of the film, minus like the flashbacks, of course, just with yourself. You are having to do a lot of face acting and voice acting, and how am I responding to the things that are on these control panels acting, which not a lot of people can do. And you have to do so in a way that doesn't feel too self-serious, but feels serious enough. And I think Gosling is this kind of this middle ground actor who he can do comedy well, he can do serious well, he can do heartthrob well if you need that from him. You don't really need that from him here. So I think he was probably a perfect casting choice. Also a perfect casting choice, I think even probably more so, and this is coming from the I really like the book camp. There's a character in the book named Eva Stratton who appears in some of the flashbacks, and she's played by Sandra Hüller, who we most recently saw in Anatomy of a Fall. She is stellar in this. She has some of my favorite scenes in the movie, and she is almost exactly the way I pictured her in the book, like to a T. In ways that even the Ryan Gosling character, I mean, I think he's good, but he's still Ryan Gosling. I didn't picture Ryan Gosling when I read the book. This is a hard science movie where it really goes deep into like kind of like the explanations of how they're solving things, but it's never dry. It's never boring. It's never dull. It makes hard science feel like soft science, like sci-fi fantasy in some ways, even though they are kind of explaining the what's and the hows and the how many grams this thing is and why that's important. It's accessible. This is a good movie. I think this one's one that, we'll probably be talking about throughout the course of the year. Again, it's getting butts in seats. I think it's invigorating both critics and, sort of casual viewers alike. And I like that. So Project Hail Mary is definitely a, what are we doing here? 4.5 bear paws movie from me, or somewhere in that ballpark. But the only thing I would encourage you to do is, if you do watch this movie and do enjoy it, go read the book, or actually audiobook the book. It adds a little bit more depth, and the voice actor who's doing the audiobook is, I think, gives a master class in just everything that he does. So I would strongly recommend that. But I would also strongly recommend this movie.
That's Ray Porter, right? That does.
Yes.
Yeah. I might have more to say in a second, but he's
okay. Yeah. So,
sure.
And I'm interested to hear it. So that's mine. 4.5 bear paws. Roar.
All right. 4.5 bear paws. Roar from Will. Jim, how about for you? Because I know you saw a press screening of this one and wrote a great review. And then you saw it again with me when I wanted to see it a second time in IMAX. What were your initial impressions of the film? Seeing it a couple times, did it hold that same magic for you? If it had magic, where'd you come down?
Yeah, I definitely really love this film. Didn't know a lot about it going in. I had seen the first teaser, which did not give away much of anything. It gave away enough to know that there was something underneath the wrapper, right? But I didn't know what that thing was. So that was a surprise. And here's the thing I liked about this movie. There's really 2 stories going on in this movie. One is the story of Ryland Grace, the character played by it's Ryland Grace, right? Is that his name? Yeah.
That's right.
The character played by Ryan Gosling, so that it's his story, how he got on the mission. And they fill that in, as Will said, kind of in flashbacks, because at the beginning of the story, we're thrown into the main thrust of the narrative here, and that is a space mission of some sorts, and we'll get into that a little bit more in spoilers. But we are thrown into the middle of a space mission. We are just as disoriented as Grace is when he wakes up in deep space, and I just loved the way it maintained both narratives throughout, and it did it very well. The other thing I liked about it, it brought me back to some real hard science fiction. It brought to mind like some real cool sci-fi films, like space sci-fi, hard sci-fi stuff. There's some good stuff in here, some science-y shit. It's not like, galactic monsters and blah blah blah. That's not a spoiler in itself, but it's not like a Marvel in space movie. This is a real, like, I'll say down to earth, but down to what could be considered realistic with a little bit of imagination, I guess, right? So I love that about this film. I grew up on a lot of those sci-fi kind of films, and this one had that in spades. I also liked that the directors, Lord and Miller, who most known to me was the Lego Movie, which I have to be honest, folks, I didn't really care so much for the Lego Movie. It was a little too frenetic and kind of, I think it was just beyond my pace, if that makes any sense. It was just too manic. I thought
everything was awesome, Jim.
Well, you've literally never said anything about that on this show before, Jim.
You've never talked about how terrible the Lego Movie was. Never.
Well, I'm not going to say it's a terrible movie. It just wasn't for me. It was very manic, and I was afraid that this film would suffer from some of that. And I was totally impressed with how these directors walked that line between the hard sciencey shit that's going on in the narrative and lightening it up with some humor that was germane to the story. So I think this is a great film. I think it hits all the quadrants, right? You could bring your kids to this movie. I think adults are going to like it. Nerds are going to like it. Ryan Gosling fans are going to love it. And that's why it's doing so well. I think it's a really, really great movie that we get to see early in the year. So, yeah. Fantastic for me.
All right, another big win for Jim. 2 for 3 so far. I guess it's up to me to break this party up. I know you guys love this one a lot, and there's probably a lot to love. And I know that because I really love those things too. Of course, this movie was an absolute home run for me. I think this is my first 5-star movie of 2026. So I absolutely loved this one. Again, being very careful about spoiling stuff. I'll just say that I think, like a lot of people, I was a little worried that we were going to get Ken in space with this film, right? Ryan Gosling played Ken last summer, 2 summers ago, whenever it was, in the Barbie movie. When he does comedy, he kind of has like a very specific comedic brand, I guess. And I was a little like, he's an astronaut by himself in space, and like, this is going to carry a whole movie. Okay, sure. It looks really cool, space stuff. Let's go see it. And I'll tell you what, the first time I saw it was a press screener. And I wrote a review as well. Both mine and Jim's are up on the website. And Will, thank you for your reviews and always putting those up for us once we get those written. But I saw it again with Jim and a friend who hadn't seen it before, and Kevin saw it again with us. And I was like, you know what? I know all the big emotional beats for this now. I know the big thing that, like, the trailer spoiled for a lot of people. That was protected for me the first time I saw it. I'm like, this movie isn't going to hit the same way. It actually hit in some better ways, honestly. Things the first time through that I didn't notice or didn't resonate as much because I was caught up in other experiences, landed even better. So much so that I want to go see this movie a third time. Babe, the theater with the IMAX we went to, Regal Gateway, they have a 4DX experience where it's the
which we
moving
have to
chairs,
try.
like D-Box, which would be great. But they also pipe in like scents and like spray water on you. It's like the Disney PhilharMagic thing we did, like, I don't know, 15 years ago. But it's like $30 a ticket for that. But like I would pay it. I know.
For this movie, you might want to do that.
Even if it's just me by myself, you know, on a Saturday or something.
On a bouncy ride. Go.
On a bouncy ride. But it was really fantastic. I don't want to say much more than that. I'll just say the space stuff was done incredibly well. I mentioned Ray Porter coming in. So Ray Porter did probably my favorite Darkseid voice ever in the Zack Snyder cut of Justice League. He's also done a ton of like character work. He played one of the roadies in Almost Famous. He was my Almost Famous favorite roadie in that movie. And so, Will, you had mentioned that the book was really good. And I don't have a lot of time to read these days, but I do have a lot of time for audiobooks. So I'm like, well, let me see if there's an audiobook version. And then I saw that fucking Ray Porter was narrating the book. And I didn't even, like, normally I listen to the little sample to make sure I can stand whoever's narrating. I didn't even need to. I was like, you know what, just instant blind buy. And I think I'm about a third of the way through the book right now. And I'm just enjoying his read so much. I feel a little weird with him, like, doing accents sometimes, especially like the German and like Swedish accents and stuff. Like, where does it go from like well-intended mimicry into like parody? I don't think he's trying to parody, you know, but some of the accents are just kind of like, okay. But Strat in the movie sounded so much, because I started listening to the book before I saw the movie, sounded so much like he voices Strat in the book. And I was just like, holy fucking shit. Like, this is awesome. So when we went to see it a second time, we had a video intro from Ray Porter for the movie advertising the audio book as well. And a lot of people sitting around us were like, this was a book? Like, what? So I hope a lot more people go find that audiobook on, you know, Amazon, Audible, whatever service you use. It's been a blast to listen to so far. I'm loving it. So anyway, this is a big win from all three of us. Obviously, go see this on the biggest screen with the best sound system you can while it's in theaters right now. Other stuff is coming. We're starting to pull out of that like weird beginning of the year no man's land of stuff, like right after the Oscars. So take advantage of seeing this one while you can.
I would also say this one is a very good soul bleach. And what I mean by that is there is just some like radical optimism that weaves its way through this movie. Not optimism without practicality, but there is still just sort of this like, I think about some of the different problems that humanity is experiencing in our world, outside my window, or I guess y'all's window right now. And I kind of wish that we had the same leaders and people that are sort of solving the problems here in the book and in this movie. But I think that it makes you feel, it's really easy to feel cynical about everything right now because there's a lot of pretty crappy things happening in the world. And I think this movie, like I said, it's soul bleach. It just sort of like washes some of that away and makes you just feel better for having watched it.
Completely agree, for sure. Especially one particular moment I can't wait to talk about. It was a great moment in the film.
Well, let's talk about those moments.
Want to get there. So, Jim, Will, are we good to transition into the spoiler part of our discussion?
Yeah,
that would be amazing.
Get into spoilers. Amazing.
All right. This is the part of the show, of course, where if you have not yet seen Project Hail Mary and you don't want to be spoiled, and honestly, I mean, that's my suggestion. Like, just stop listening.
No, yeah.
We want you to listen to the show. We love that you're here. We see a bunch of you hanging out with us live. That's great. If you're listening on your commute or at the gym, we love you too. Please give yourself a hug from us. But step away, go see this movie, and then maybe come on back for the rest of our review after you do. But all of that said, spoilers for Project Hail Mary will officially be fair game in 10 seconds because I'm giving people time to scramble for the pause button or whatever you need to do. Just a reminder, if you're listening live or via digital tape delay, we're going to be talking about South by Southwest Film and TV after this. So feel free to come on back or skip ahead, whatever you need to do to hear some cool shit coming out of South by you're not going to want to miss. Anyway, It's done. It's happening. Project Hail Mary spoilers all over the place, all over your face. They're landing everywhere like little bits of astrophage, and they're propelling us forward. Where do y'all want to start?
Rocky.
I think that makes sense. Jim?
Yeah.
Yeah?
That sounds good to me.
What the fuck is Rocky?
Yeah,
Well,
we talked around for Rocky. Go ahead, Jim. Yeah, you got it.
So Rocky is while Grace, we'll call him Grace, Ryland Grace, the Ryan Gosling character, who's on this mission alone in space, to save humanity, to save not just humanity, but to save the Earth, save humanity, and as we find out, to save other solar systems in the galaxy, perhaps. And so as he's on this mission, he encounters another entity, another being on a ship. His ship encounters it. And on that ship is another being who's the sole occupant of this ship. And that being's name is Rocky. And they are also on a mission to save their solar system from the same issue. So they have a common goal, working toward a common purpose. And not only that, but now, yes, they're working toward a common purpose, but also we see them kind of coming together and getting to know each other, right? Learning about each other, how to communicate, between a human being from Earth and a rocky creature from Erid. I think that the planet's name is Erid. So he's an Iridian being, and that propels a lot of the heart of this movie. I'll just leave it at that and let you guys talk more about Rocky. But we do see Rocky. Rocky's not like this thing that they wait and save to the end of the movie. He's he's a character in this film as much as Ryan Gosling is.
Yeah, and that's the part that I too take a little issue with this. Not even with the movie, with kind of the marketing on it, but I get it because in the book experience that I had,
you mean the reveal, like in the trailers.
The fact that he's he's in the trailers. So if you watch a 2-minute trailer for this movie, you know that Ryan Gosling meets an alien in space. Whereas kind of keeping it as a secret, when you get to that part in the book and there's suddenly another ship there, it is just a game changer. You have no idea what is happening, and the book takes on sort of like a new shift. That said, Rocky is what's going to get butts in seats. Rocky is the thing that is going to get people excited. Now they can do which one was it? Is it AMC? One of them is doing like the Rocky as a popcorn bucket, So I get it. I can't be too mad, but I do just wish I could transpose that original experience to the moviegoers because it's a good experience. But they do well by Rocky here too. Rocky is a character who is as smart as Grace is. He comes from a very different planet with very different atmosphere and living conditions, and even the fact that he has no eyes and he doesn't see and can only operate off of sound itself creates a new kind of foreign way for us to look at this. But he is just as capable as a scientist. In fact, but one of the things I like so much is that Grace, the Ryan Gosling character, is more of like I understand how certain elements and how things, like he's sort of like more of a scientist, whereas Rocky's more of an engineer scientist, and the two of them put their heads together and solve a bunch of shit. That's part of that optimism. These are two people from different worlds, that are working together to save both of their worlds, and it's pretty fucking rad. So yeah, I love Rocky. Rocky is one of the best. I think last year when I'd read this book, and I knew that I did it because I saw the movie was coming out. So I'm like, oh, I've heard a lot about this book. I want to get up ahead of this. I remember coming out of the kind of the last page and thinking like, I've just read my favorite character of the year and I can't tell anyone about it. So I'm so glad I could talk about how cool Rocky is now.
Yeah, Rocky's pretty great. I knew from, I guess it's the first trailer, that an alien was involved, but only like slightly. I think we just saw Rocky's like one finger like tap tap tap, right? And I was like, there's an alien.
Yeah.
And at that point, I was like, I don't want to know anymore. I'm not watching any more trailers. Somehow, I was lucky enough not to encounter the latest Project Hail Mary trailer before anything we saw in theaters. Probably because we were seeing stuff at South by, not in movie theaters where they probably were showing that trailer. So when I went into the press screener, I knew very little about Rocky. Hadn't gotten to Rocky in the audiobook yet. And I was totally blown away. And one of the really great things about Rocky, his design is amazing. But there's a lot of practical puppetry by James Ortiz, who also voices Rocky in the film, that really brings that character to life. Like he moves in like weird stilted ways sometimes, but like that's what makes him so alien. Like he's a rock creature moving like tumbling rocks would, not like a morphing pile of CG or, it's like, oh, I'm looking at a creature who can like make things out of xenon, like with his little hands, So the puppetry was amazing, and we're in spoilers, so we can talk about it. Y'all, when we thought Rocky died after all the shit happens, and he's just laying there in his rock heap, like all like burned up, and I was full on fucking ugly crying.
You're like, what are we gonna do?
Oh,
like, what are we gonna do? We've lost.
Yeah.
It's like
the
an
whole reason we cared
moment
about this movie.
Yeah.
Right?
And like in the back of my head, I'm like, they're not going to let him stay dead, Bradley. Like they're not. Like he'll be fine. He'll be back. Don't worry. Grace, watch over Rocky while you sleep. It'll be fine. And it was. And Rocky comes back, and I love that, like, it's while Grace is like kind of waking up and he doesn't quite realize what's going on. And we kind of see Rocky rolling around in his ball before we really even hear him. And it's amazing. It's transcendent. I have tried to find that popcorn bucket. Jim, you don't know this. I was hoping, to have it for the show, but I have called like every movie theater here in town. Nobody has the popcorn bucket. And they're like, stop calling us. Stop calling us.
It's that Brad guy again. It's the popcorn bucket guy.
But dude, I found somebody on eBay who was selling a sealed one.
Oh my God.
For $24.99.
Oh.
All the others are going for like $150, $200. They were selling it for $24.99. And I bought it. And hopefully it'll be here in a few days. I was like, oh, maybe it'll be here in time for the show. Thank you, person who did not ticket scalp or whatever you want to call it on eBay for popcorn.
Price gouge.
Price gouge. Those are the words that my brain were looking for. So yeah, great character, Rocky, for sure.
Yeah, great character. And here's the thing. The character has no face, right? There's really no recognizable face, right, that we would recognize as a face, right? I don't think there's any eyes. You know what I mean? There's no mouth or expressions. He's generally expressionless visually, right? There is no expression. So to make a character that you feel a lot about without a face, like that's doing something, right? That's great character work in the story that they're able to do that. And again, another reason to see this movie. And I would say, yeah, if you, well, we're in spoilers now, so I was going to say it earlier, but I hope people who go to see this movie that haven't been spoiled have the same experience that I did. I mean, I was lucky to have an early experience without being spoiled, and it's great. It's like and that's one of the reasons I go to movies and I see a lot of new movies, is that that exploration. I like that sense of wonder when you discover something through, on the screen. And this movie has that in spades.
Speaking of sense of wonder, seeing something on screen, I want to go back to that moment that I referenced before we jumped into spoilers. There's a moment where Dr. Grace is on the hull of the ship. He and Rocky are trying to catch a sample of astrophage.
He's spacewalking.
Right, from the Petrova line in the Tau Ceti system. And they set up their collector and everything. And then he like turns on the infrared light or whatever it is. And like we go from seeing normal space to like they're surrounded by astrophage. It's flying all around. And like Dr. Grace is just floating there. The music swells. It's very choral. It's like, ah.
Beautiful.
And it's just beautiful. And I'm like sobbing through this scene. Like I feel just so amazing when I see it twice now. I've ugly cried in that scene. But then you hear Rocky and it's like, Rocky's like, Rocky not know what Grace is doing. And Grace is like, I'm having a moment. But we see the camera from Rocky's point of view. And Grace is just like spinning slowly in regular space. It just looks like he's not doing anything. Yeah. And then we cut back to Grace's perspective, and the beautiful glowing reds are all around him, and it's scintillating. And I have made it a point now. When I take a walk at work every day when I go get lunch. I have lunch, and then afterward I walk to burn some of the calories off. I have timed it. I start that piece of music from the score. Yes, I bought the soundtrack. So that when I get to this really pretty part of the campus that I work at, it always is kind of hitting as I get to the nice grass, or I like take my shoes off and walk in the grass and feel connected to the earth. And so I really appreciate this movie for giving me another musical piece in my like lexicon of musical experiences to enjoy like that. It's been great.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
The scene that I also had a similar reaction to, maybe not quite as profound, but that I did quite enjoy, is there's a moment where it's just sort of a moment of connection between the scientists and one of the flashbacks on Earth, and they all go out to karaoke, and the Strat character is just, she's not really connected, and finally they convince her to go up, and she sings Harry Styles' Sign of the Times, and it's just a good scene. And also Sandra Hüller can sing.
Who knew?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's just this movie is built on great scene after great scene. Like we've seen some recently. I'm thinking back to like Life of Chuck, which I enjoyed quite a bit, right? But when I think back to Life of Chuck, I can think about like 3 or 4 like really solid scenes, and those were kind of like the linchpin scenes, right? And kind of everything would build towards those. It's really hard for me to think about what the linchpin scenes of this movie of Project Hail Mary are, because scene to scene, it's just banger after banger. And that's such a wonderful thing to experience. I'm looking right now at the Bob Bullock IMAX, and the last day there is on Thursday night. So that one is worth watching. But if not, then I need to get you guys out there to the big giant IMAX.
Yeah, we definitely like to do that.
I feel like we had something Thursday night, but I don't see it on the calendar. Is it a work thing? Let me look.
I think you have.
I know what it is.
Yeah.
No, it's not on our calendar, but we have Mario tickets.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say about this movie. You mentioned a lot of it. And I talked about the hard science stuff, like all the stuff we learned, like in the narrative of this film that we had to learn. The Petrova, what's the Petrova line? What's astrophage? How does it work? IR light, attraction to IR light, like all this stuff. Tau Ceti was I'm not even sure. I'm not a astronomer. Maybe Tau Ceti is a real place.
It is.
Yep. So we talk about Tau Ceti and that solar system. It's just they throw all these details in, but they don't feel burdensome. They definitely are woven tightly into the story, and they make sense. And they make high science make sense to an audience who's there to be entertained, and that's great.
You didn't mention the most technical term they gave us that explained how astrophage travels across stellar distances. Toot to scoot.
Toot to scoot. That's right. They toot to scoot. Yep.
Grace figures it out.
Yeah.
He's like, oh yeah, they toot to scoot. They
Yep, that's the Lord and Miller
touch,
touch, right? They brought it back with a little humor
right?
to tie our interest up, and that's great.
They really did.
Yeah,
they did. Well, listen, I know we could talk about this movie a lot more. Go ahead.
Yeah. One more thing, the ending. I want to talk about the ending.
Okay, real quick. I was just going to say, do we want to bring it in for a landing with the ending? So
yes.
Perfect segue. Yes. Great.
Yeah,
go for it.
I love the ending. This mission that he's forced to go on is a one-way, basically a suicide run, to go do this research and find this answer. Hopefully, it's a 1 in a million shot, Hail Mary, and he's not going to be able to come home. Well, then we find out that Rocky might be able to help him get home at some point. And then a little later on, something happens to the fuel tanks and he doesn't have enough in order to get Rocky home and to get him home. And lo and behold, he ends up on Erid, to our surprise, right? We don't know that he's going to Erid until he shows up there. And he's teaching. He's a bridge between between human culture and Iridian culture. And it's a beautiful ending, I thought.
Yeah, I completely agree. That beautiful ending, I think, did a lot to kind of establish, like, Grace could go home. It sounds like Rocky's like,
possibly, yeah.
Is Grace ready to go home?
They could build him
Iridians,
a ship. Yeah,
fix Hail Mary, and we get a callback because earlier in the film they wanted Grace to go out into space. Right. When like the whole science team dies,
they had to force him
unexpectedly.
They basically date raped him. Yeah.
But when Stat was like, "Would you do it?" He's like, "Can I think about it?" And she's like, "You have 3 hours." And obviously, he decides he's not up for it. But anyway, Grace to Rocky is like, "Can I think about going back?" And then we see him like teaching all these Iridians. In the like terrarium that they've built for him, which is awesome. And there's talk that there's a sequel happening potentially. I don't think I want that. Maybe I do. I don't know at this point.
Can we go to that terrarium right now? Can we all just go to that terrarium right now?
Let's just go live there now.
Let's go live there. Brad, you're an instructor, right? So you're an instructor. You could could help teach. Yeah, it would be awesome.
There we go.
Yeah, I will say I don't want another Project Hail Mary. This story needs to end here because it ends on a perfect note. But yeah, I love that ending because this film shifts at a certain point from just being a story about a man trying to save Earth to a film about friendship. These people are both trying to save both of their races by working together. And we see that friendship extends beyond just the mission and into something more substantial beyond that. I think that's so cool. So I love where this landed.
That moment, and I'm cognizant that I'm the one who said we need to move the fuck on. But that moment when Grace has to admit to Rocky that he doesn't have the astrophage to get home, while Rocky does, and he admits that it's a one-way trip for him. Grace is like, "It's fine. I know that. Like, I've made peace with it." And Rocky's like, "How much astrophage Grace need? Rocky get home 6 years slower. So, Grace go home." I was just like, how did a fucking rock just crack my heart open and make all the joy spill out? And yet it did. So anyway, really great film. I really want to talk more about this with all of you, but we went to South by. We got a whole lot more to talk about. So
we do.
Yeehaw.
Y'all ready to make that transition?
Absolutely.
Cool.
Yeehaw.
Right. Yeehaw. Y'all means all. It's a Texas
y'all means
thing.
all.
We're Texans now.
I saw that 4 times a day for a week.
I love it.
I was reminded of that.
Also, thank you, volunteers, and we mean that truly.
Yes, yes.
South by wouldn't be what it is without you. All right, so Jim, you're going to set this one up for us here in just a second.
Yeah.
But I just want to let anybody listening know real quick, after our Project Hail Mary review, stay with us. Coming out of a film festival, we've seen some films that are hopefully going to be coming out your way soon.
Oh, yeah.
One of them already is. You're going to want to hear about these things. So stay with us after the jump. Jim, I don't know if we're going to get like South by bumper music or anything this year, but
it's hard to find.
Some kind of transition.
It's hard to
I
get.
know.
Yeah.
We can always email the press office. They've helped us out in the past. So
yeah.
We
could try to get that.
We'll try to figure it out. In any event, here we go. Our discussion of South by Southwest Film and TV 2026. All right, Jim.
Yeah.
What the fuck is South by Southwest Film and TV 2026 for people who don't know or aren't aware?
Yeah, South by Southwest is a giant multi-pronged media festival that's held here in Austin every spring, usually around the second week of March. This year it went from March 12th to March 18th for film and TV. There were some changes to the festival this year, but it's been happening every year. We, the MBP guys, have been going for, I don't know, like 12, 13. I've lost track. I think we lost 1 year for COVID, but we did. I think we did a virtual festival that year. My memory's fading, but I know. Look, I know that I look forward to this time of year, this time every year because of South by Southwest. It's been a really special part of our lives. And I was reminded of that a lot during this festival, because although there's been a lot of changes, the Austin Convention Center is kind of out of the loop right now. Some venues have changed here and there. The festival itself was shortened to 6 days from like 8 or 9 days usually. But it was still an amazing festival. We had an amazing time. Saw some amazing films, some of which we're going to talk about. But I think for me, what really shines through is just making those connections again. I have connections in my life that I only make through film, really, and film festivals. And there are lots of people that we see every year when we go to these festivals because they also go every year. And seeing them just really gives me a shot of joy that is hard to come by. It's like seeing an old friend, that you catch up with, and that's awesome. And then also meeting new people, meeting new friends, which I did this year too. If you guys don't mind, I'm going to run through, before I get to my movie, I'm going to run through some people that I'm just going to mention names. I'm not going to go into stories.
We might have a couple too. Yeah. So go for it.
Yeah. Go for it.
I what I did is as between movies, or sitting in movies, I'm meeting people and I'm like putting their names in my phone. Like, oh, you're with that film. Oh, that's awesome. So here we go. I met Jeff and Mariah, who are, I think, producers for the film or working tech for the film Mallory's Ghost, which was here. Those were the first people I met in line. One of the coolest experiences I had was for a film called Capturing Bigfoot, which was a documentary. Sounds like a goofy movie, but I guarantee you this documentary about Bigfoot made me cry. So that'll give you some indication of how that is. I met Clint Patterson. If you guys know the story of Bigfoot, everybody's seen that old shaky cam footage, 8mm film of Bigfoot walking through the woods, walking down the riverbed. That was filmed in 1967 by a guy named Roger Patterson, who is the dad of Clint Patterson, who I met at the festival. And Clint is in this movie, talks about his dad filming him and Vale Thompson from that film, Capturing Bigfoot. That was a big moment, and had a lot of fun meeting them. Great guys. A guy named Cade, who's a Fantastic Fest guy. and his mom. His mom goes to all the movies with him at Fantastic Fest, which I think is amazing. Um, a guy named Jackson. He's a Planned Parenthood volunteer, and also does the Couch Critics. He and his dad have this little group that they call Couch Critics. They get together and they watch movies and they critique the movie, and I think that's super special, right? That they do that. A producer of the movie called Seekers of Infinite Love, Gabby Zimmer. Matt, a guy named from a podcast or a website called the Film Memes. I don't know if you're aware of the Film Memes website, but he's the movie Matt. He's the guy from that. And then some friends we know, right? Jason White. We know Jason White from Canada. Pilar. I don't know her last name. I'm sorry, Pilar. She's amazing.
Pilar.
She's amazing. Love to see her at the festivals. David Massey, George, of course, and George and Kyle, right? I think it is. Kyle, is that right? Yeah, George and Kyle. Don Miles, right? And I'm sorry, Don. I don't know his last name. It's not Don Miles, but that's Lee Miles.
Yes, Lee. Lovely.
Lee. Yep. Just a lot of people, and the list goes on and on. But I'm not gonna, go through them all. But to me, that's what makes the festival special. And there were a couple of times I'm sitting there before the movie started. I get my seat, going through all the Alamo stuff, and I'm like, this feels so good just being there. I was kind of overcome by emotion a couple times just sitting there, like, I can't believe I'm here. I'm lucky enough to do this. Lucky enough to do it with you, Brad, sometimes, and you, Will, sometimes. It's amazing. So props to everybody who put on the festival this year. I know it was shortened. I know it was different, but I had an amazing, amazing time and saw some amazing films. One of which I'm going to talk about.
Before you do, take a breath. We'll jump in a little bit, and we want to obviously preserve as much time for the films as we can. Yeah. But Will, do you have any brief highlights?
Mine's really just the experience for me, and we've talked a little bit about the show. I've had some health issues this last year, right? Mm. And one thing that South by Southwest has done that they haven't done in previous years, or if they have, it's been to a lesser degree, and I've not seen any other festivals do this. They really bumped their ADA disability, basically, game up quite a bit. They had, if you had the ADA placard on your badge, they had a spot for you to sit down instead of having to stand in these lines, which can sometimes be multi-hour lines. And they would have runners who would kind of let you know where you're supposed to go or help you get your cue card or anything along those lines. And I ended up taking advantage of that quite a bit because I've just had some kind of rough kind of back issues this last during the festival. So it was really, really nice, and big thank you to South by Southwest for that. And of course, overall, the experience, it's different. It's always different every year. Every year it's a little different. We don't have the convention center this year, but that's okay because the core of it is still there. In terms of the people, a lot of great people from Fantastic Fest, people from like the press, people that we've seen from out of town. It was just good catching up with everybody. And the ones that I made the most kind of new connections with were other people in the ADA section. It's a small enough group. So we would always be over at Alamo and it would be like the same, like 10, 15 of us. And so we'd go like, oh, you just got out of ABC documentary, right? How was that? Because we already knew because we talked beforehand about what we were going to go see. So anyways, it was just a really fun experience. And I'm just glad that they made it something that I could still experience while kind of going through the ringer of it.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad that you were able to do that because it is sometimes a struggle to stand in line for 2 hours, right? That's when you don't have a back that's hurting, right? So I'm just glad that you are able to do that and take advantage of that what they offer so that you can easily be able to see the film, more easily be able to see the films that you want to see, right? And make the time in between a little more bearable. You still get your social experience, right? Because you have your group there, and every time I'd walk by, right, when you're there, I'm like, hey, Will, what are you going to see? What are you, and that was awesome. Yeah.
Well, I definitely love hearing that making the festival more accessible, I think, was such a big hit for folks and was so helpful. I talked to somebody at the Paramount. I have trouble sitting in the seats at the Paramount Theater.
Oh,
They're very old. They're very narrow. I come home with literal bruises every year from repeated screenings on Paramount. But that's where all the big things that I'm interested in typically play. So it's like I have to suffer through 2 weeks of bruises, after the festival. But I was talking to someone this year who was also a larger person and, like me, has some like back issues, and that contributes to some of that. And he was like, yeah, you just let them know what you need. And they'll like help you. They'll accommodate you. They'll get you set up. Like South by is totally leaning into like making things friendlier and more accessible. And, of course, I found that out at the end of the festival. So for next year, I think that could be helpful. That might open some more options for me too, for some crazy back shit I have going on that makes it really hard to sit in those seats for a long period of time, even outside the bruises. But I've long wondered why South by hasn't been more accessible, and it's great to see them do it. Y'all talked about a lot of great things about South by. It was a phenomenal experience. I loved what I was able to do with it, but I know we attended as press, but I feel like it would be remiss if I didn't call this out. The system that they went with this year for like reserving your movies weeks in advance, I think for some people maybe it's helpful, but I feel like it took a lot of the magic of the film festival out of it for me, because for me, like a lot of times what would happen is you'd go to the festival and you could reserve movies the day before is how it worked, right? And you'd hear about things people are seeing and they're like, oh my God, you have to see whatever. And it's like, that wasn't even on my radar, but now I really want to see it. Well, having to reserve them weeks ahead of time means you don't get to hear that boots on the ground, like word of mouth, and like go see that thing as a result. Now they say, and technically it is true, you can go stand in like the standby line or whatever. But I talked to so many people this year just waiting for movies that like said they tried to go into those standby lines and like they don't know what happened. They weren't that far back. They didn't get in. And a lot of people were really upset about it. So South by, if you're listening, love and adore you. Thank you for everything you do. But I just want to offer you some feedback from people going to the festival that I don't know, maybe there's some kind of hybrid way, like a limited number of daily passes or something, that could help maybe accommodate that a little bit. Because like honestly, I get super overwhelmed sitting down looking at the schedule like a month ahead of time, like Minority Report style. I love that you guys are like so into it, you have it nailed down. But for me, it's like there's 50 pages of movies in that booklet. Like that is really hard and impossible for my ADHD brain. But I can get there and hear what people are saying and make my picks and get excited. So just something to pass along.
I'll be honest. I mean, I think every festival, at least the ones that we've attended, has a similar problem, right? There's always going to be people who don't get to see or get into the films they think they want, that they want to get into at the outset, right? Or they don't even know what they want to see that early, like you said, right? And so they might pick some films and then they don't want to, see them after a while. So I don't know if there's a perfect system yet that I've seen. I've heard a lot of people were talking at the festival about, oh, maybe they could do this, maybe they could do that. And I think a lot of them are great ideas. I just don't know if it's ever come together in a perfect solution yet.
And some of that might be, and some of it might just be tied to the fact that now there's no central convention center area for things. So they needed to do more pre-planning to sort of get around that. So, one of the things I trust South by to do is they do a pretty good job of sort of evolving each year. So I think there are some kinks with the system this year. I trust that next year, whichever direction they go, if they go more that direction or kind of back to something else, I have a feeling it'll at least be a cleaner version of whatever that is.
Yeah, I think they've always been really open to feedback. I just wanted to call it out as a fair, fair thing. But I had a wonderful time. I got to see, I think, all of the big things I wanted to
The
see,
headliners,
except for one.
like
Yeah, I really like the headliners. So I'm really really jazzed we got to go. I know we're kind of running a little long as is, and we still have movies to talk about. Did y'all want to go ahead and maybe just pull a movie out of the hat that you enjoyed and want to put on people's radar?
I would love to do that. But wait, do we have a hat? Oh my goodness.
Oh, we have a hat, all right.
Oh, I left one out there, didn't I?
Yee ha.
Yee fucking ha.
If my big old hat like slides down over your whole head, I would not be surprised.
I mean, I could probably wear it over my. Wait, hold up. Let's...
Oh, he's taking his head.
Oh my god, it looks so great on him.
Oh man, wait till he puts his headphones back on so you can hear us.
Will, that looks amazing on you.
That looks so good on you.
Oh, did it? Okay.
Have you ever worn it? Have you ever worn a cowboy hat before? Do you have one?
You know, growing up in Texas, I had a couple of cowboy hats as a kid, but not as an adult. Wow. I haven't had one in a while.
Yeah. That looks so good on you.
All right, maybe I have to. Maybe I need to get myself Stetson. Get myself a Stetson.
There you go. There you go. All right. Well then, Jim, I know you had a movie you wanted to call out. Let's kick off with you if you don't mind.
Yeah, sure. I'm just gonna say that I think the docs at this festival are always amaze me. Like always surprise me, and this year was no exception. I think the docs were it's arguable, but I think the docs are the strongest compared to narratives. I think they're stronger. And just same thing this year. And the one I'm going to call out amongst a bunch of great docs that I saw this year is called The Ascent. And this is a film about a woman named Mandy Horvath, who is I don't know if it's considered a double amputee, but she through a horrific incident when she was younger lost both of her legs, and she sets off to it's about her journey back to health, recovery, fighting to get back her strength, not just physically but also emotionally, because I don't want to spoil anything. There are some like what the fuck moments in this film, but she sets off to climb Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa, and that is the thrust of this movie. It's about her preparation, but it's also not only that, but for fans of like true crime stuff, this movie will have something for you too. I'll just say that as a kind of a non-spoiler tease. It's about her attempted ascent of Mount Kilimanjaro, which was incredible. And again, she doesn't have legs. She doesn't have prosthetics. She doesn't use prosthetics. So it's her walking, basically, propelling her body while on her hands. Got to meet Mandy at the festival. That's another great thing about South by Southwest. She's amazing. Her fiance and her puppy. You guys right now need to go to IMDb, look up Mandy Horvath on IMDb, click on her picture, and see her adorable puppy that's in the picture with her, because that puppy was there at South by Southwest too. And the puppy's name is Patsy Cline.
Oh, adorable.
And, yeah. Anyway, interesting thing I found, this documentary is amazing. I don't know when it's going to be released or where, but I expect it's going to be probably like on Netflix or something. The one bad thing is there's another movie called The Ascent that's coming out in 2026. And it's about some people in a hot air balloon who encounter problems over shark-infested waters, believe it or not. So that sounds kind of crazy. But so I don't know if there'll be any issues with the title, but see the documentary, The Ascent, as soon as it comes out. I'll try to make people aware of when it does come out. We also learned that Mandy was on an episode of Naked and Afraid, which we watched. And it was, again, incredible. Like that is kind of a guilty pleasure of ours, right? To watch Naked and Afraid. Not just for the thirst trap dudes that are on there, but the show is pretty cool. It's like, these two people get dropped off in the middle of nowhere and they have to survive for like 14 days or 21 days, I think it is. I'm not sure, but she was on an episode of Naked and Afraid, and she mentioned that at the festival, so we went right off and had to watch that, which was great too. But
awesome.
yeah, the film is called The Ascent. Look for it. There might be a trailer out for it already. I loved it. It was I think it was my number one film of the festival.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, she was pretty incredible in Naked and Afraid. So I can't wait to catch up with this documentary as well.
Right.
Sorry I didn't get to meet her at the festival and the puppy as well. But good stuff. Good.
Yep.
All right. Mm-hmm. Will, how about you? What would you like to put on people's radar?
First of all, Jim, you're absolutely right. Like, I think the documentaries at South by Southwest, and it's hard to, if you're not a documentary person, to sort of like to hear what I'm about to say and just like, oh man, I got to go crazy with these documentaries. But South by Southwest programs a very strong documentary lineup, even compared to other festivals that I've been to. Right. And so this year I spent most of my time, in fact, I just looked at it, and more than half of the films that I saw were documentaries this year. But that's not what I'm going to flag here. I just wanted to flag that, Jim, you're right. Documentaries are good. But the one that I want to flag is in theaters right now. We got to see the world premiere of They Will Kill You, which is a horror comedy action film starring Zazie Beetz, who she's one of those people who right now I feel like elevates everything that she's in. Some of the most notable things you may have seen her in were, of course, like she was in the show Atlanta. She was in Deadpool 2 as Donker, and she was in my favorite movie of 2020, which was called 9 Days. She plays this woman who takes this job as a housekeeper at this like kind of exclusive New York City sort of like high-rise hotel type thing. And from kind of the opening scene of the film that, she has a younger sister who they were both in a pretty shitty situation with their father, and Zazie Beetz ran away. The younger sister didn't get a chance to. And so now she's gone back to this hotel to find her sister, who she's found out is there. While she's there, she finds out that the residents of this loft hotel type thing are Satan worshipers, who basically the ability to not die. If you kill them, they just kind of regenerate and come back. And so the movie turns into her fighting her way through all of these people over and over again, because they keep coming back, as she tries to save her sister. The action is very stylized, with stops and freezes and motions around her, or some kind of like scenes reminiscent of like the Old Boy kind of like hallway fighting scene. The actual villains, because it's kind of funny the way that they play with this whole like evil regeneration thing. It almost feels a little Sam Raimi-esque at times. And I will say that all parts of the story maybe don't 100% land. This is a script that kind of just throws everything at the wall, and some of it sticks, some of it doesn't. But just kind of when you sit back and kind of get into the vibe of it, it vibes well. Patricia Arquette is in this as well. Heather, there's some people that are just absolutely like just chewing every bit of the scenery here. So it's called They Will Kill You. My husband is not a big fan of like horror movies that are very like trauma-inducing type stuff, and we watched the trailer for this one. He said, oh yeah, I think I should be able to watch this one, because the horror and the action is very, again, kind of Evil Dead-ish in that it's like so over the top that it doesn't feel like actual real body trauma. And so it just becomes more of kind of a fun ride. They Will Kill You is a fun ride. Not a perfect movie, but a good one. So I'd recommend it.
I know that I'm on mute, and you all are gesturing at me frantically on camera. I went to take a swig of, this looks like a masculine bro beer. It's actually Angry Orchard. It's a hard cider because I don't do beer. But I was taking a swig and I'm like, oh, I should mute myself, and then I forgot to come off mute. Anyway, Will, this was the one that I wanted to see that I did not get to see that I was referencing earlier. I didn't want to call it out because I knew you were going to talk about it. But I'm so jazzed that you got to see that film at South by and that Scott was able to see, potentially. I haven't caught up with it yet. Kevin went the other day to see it. I don't think he liked it anywhere near as much as you did.
Totally fair.
But I mean, movies are super subjective. But we always talk about how like horror movies and thrillers and stuff don't always get enough love. And I think, film festivals are such a great place for that to happen. But I love that you're kind of like amplifying the signal for this film, since it is in theaters right now and people can go out and see it. If you've already seen Project Hail Mary, or you're not in the mood for space and you want horror, this is a really great option that's accessible right now, right? So appreciate you calling that out.
You're exactly right. If you go see one movie this week, go see Project Hail Mary. But if you see two movies, maybe think about this one. Again, it's not perfect. I can see this movie shows its faults. The cracks are there, but the vibe hits. And sometimes you just want a vibe movie, and this movie kind of vibes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, speaking of vibes and documentaries, which keeps coming up, I watched a documentary with some really good vibes. Documentaries that end up making me like happy cry for things always just delight me at South by. And it seems like every year there's one doc that I see. This year I was lucky enough, it was two documentaries I saw that did that. One was The Dads, which was all about dads of trans kids and what their kids have gone through. And I got to hang out with some of the dads at Lick's Ice Cream. I'm in there ordering ice cream by Alamo South Lamar, and I hear voices. They're coming inside. I turn around. It's the fucking guys that were in the movie, including.
Wait, you licked ice cream with the dads?
I did. I had some ice cream with some of the dads. It was great, especially the one that I thought was so hot. I got to meet him in person. Anyway. But the one that I want to call out and talk about, because I know time is limited, and we're going to be doing part 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of South by, so we'll talk about more, is a documentary that is actually really topical for the time of year that we just came out of. If you're watching the video version of the show, I'll flash a little clue for you here on the screen. And if you're not watching the video, it is a box of Thin Mints. So I have Thin Mints, and I have peanut butter patties, which used to be called tagalongs.
Oh my god!
I don't know why
the
Girl Scouts changed it. These have been in the cabinet. I don't know if you know we have.
They need to be in the fridge, but I love them.
Okay, let's put them in the fridge when they come out. And then I have some Adventurefuls, which are like the brownie caramel one. Anyway, there's a person at work whom I love and adore. His name is Chuck, and he has an amazing daughter, Maddie. She was selling cookies, and so I bought like $100 cookies 2 days before I saw this movie. I'm glad that I bought them from Maddie, but I also wish I had maybe waited because I saw a documentary at South by called Cookie Queens, which follows a few different girls and their quest to, for some of them, run a whole cookie empire and sell the most cookies. For others, sell enough cookies to feel like they accomplished something and that they were connected with a community. And going into this movie, I was like, oh, here we go. It's going to be all these, precious little girls who are like 7-year-old talking about profit margins and,
wicker kittens with cookies.
Yeah, exactly. Wicker cookies. And while we got some of that, and it was hilarious, I think what really just blew me over from this film was like the pressure that these girls are under to sell these cookies. I had no idea
Mm.
was a thing. I thought they just got to like, I don't know, they give them cookies, they sell the cookies, and then whatever they don't sell, they send back. I didn't know parents had to fucking buy the gosh darned cookies ahead of time. Then the girls have to sell them. And in a lot of cases, they can't like give the cookies back. Like you are responsible for selling what you take. And so like
Wow.
seeing a 7-year-old girl and her family like struggling because she's only sold 12 boxes of cookies in a 6-week season and it's almost over. And what are they going to do? Because
They've
they
got
have this
cases
living
of
room full of
cookies.
cookies, you know, and they don't have a
Wow.
lot of money. And but like, you know, without spoiling the doc, because I hope this comes out and becomes accessible to folks. It's so worth a watch. I just have so much more of an appreciation for like Girl Scouts and like what the cookie thing does for them, but also what the girls go through themselves. And listen, I'm going to admit to this. There are times where I'm in a hurry. I'm running into the HEB because I need to get a prescription and I've got to get milk and then I've got to get onto this thing. And the Girl Scouts are like, "Hey, mister, do you want to buy some cookies?" And I'm like, "I'm wearing AirPods for a reason. I don't want to talk. I want to do my errands." Terrible person. I will never do that again. I will always stop and talk to them. Even if I don't buy, I'm going to like be a hype man for them. And I'll be like, "Hey, she's selling cookies." Like, this was an incredible documentary. Will, I know this is one you were able to catch up with as well. You might have some thoughts on it, but I was so glad that I got to see this and meet some of the Girl Scouts from the film. That was awesome. Like
Nice.
hearing a little bit in person during the
Yeah, there were a lot of big issue films, documentaries about things that are happening right now in the world that are important from a visibility perspective, and it was great watching those. But one of the nice things about Cookie Queens is that it was not a cynical movie. It was a very optimistic movie. It was a very joyous movie. These girls and just sort of their little capitalist ambitions were just so fun to follow, to the point where there's the one girl who you follow here who has all of the like kind of the records, the national records in terms of like selling the most. And she has a website where she sells her cookies. And did I buy 10 boxes of cookies while I was sitting in the lobby that very day? Yeah. So we've been snacking on some of those cookies. And it's interesting because there's like 2 Girl Scout like cookie like factories. And so that's why you get some of the differences in names that you get.
Oh.
The ones that I got from ordering from there are not from the one that are the local ones. So there's like the cookies are slightly different and it's been kind of fun. Like the lemonades are different. They're actually called something else. So yeah, it was just, that's been joyful too. Just sort of like, all the Girl Scout cookies are good. They're all good. There's no bad Girl Scout cookie. But these are just like, oh, it feels like that's a slight twist for me because I'm used to the ones that we have, you know, that the girls here get.
All right.
So yeah, but all that aside, it's a good movie.
Lightning round. We know Jim's favorites are tagalongs / peanut butter patties. Will, what's your favorite Girl Scout cookie? Do you have one right
now? 2. I always go between the lemonades, which is usually my number 1, and then my number 2 is usually the Caramel Delight / Samoas.
Yes, good choices there too. I am a diehard Thin Mint fan. I buy 6 boxes of Thin Mints every year. I put them in the freezer, and then I have done the math to allow myself to have 2 cookies per week over a certain part of the year until I know we're going to get into the season again. And I ration those things, and I have noticed some people have gone in and eaten my Thin Mints, not Jim, and I have words.
He also means not me. Yeah, just so anyone's looking, it's just like I've not touched any of his cookies.
I found an empty cookie sleeve in this box the other day that I did not empty out. So I'm just,
Scandal.
I know it's probably one of the cats. It's probably
cat?
One of the,
yeah,
probably wouldn't be Kevin. Definitely not.
No,
right.
no.
Alex Fogel, by the way, has been hanging out with us in the chat. Not only is he adorable and delightful, but Alex says, I just had a Thin Mint Frosty today. And I had the first one of those the other day for the first time. It was so good.
Where?
It was so good. Wendy's.
Where? Wendy's.
They have a
Okay.
Thin Mint Frosty. Yeah. It's like a vanilla Frosty with like chocolate Thin Mint like sauce and cookie crumbles in it. So it's not.
Okay.
You can ask for it with chocolate Frosty, and they'll make it for you that way.
I would
That's what I did.
100% do that. That's what
So good.
when I go to some of the ice cream places, I'm like, I want a Sonic Blast, I want a Blizzard or
Yeah.
whatever with M&Ms, and they're like, great, you know, with the vanilla ice cream. No, chocolate ice cream, chocolate syrup. Give me the M&Ms. Put all that stuff. Brad, when I got my package of those 10 boxes of Girl Scout cookies, I was like, I'm not just going to buy just the ones I like. So I got an order of the Adventurefuls and the or 2 of those and 3 of the lemonades and 2 of these and 1 of the trefoils. And then I got a box of Thin Mints. And that was the first one I went through. Because I basically asked Scott, which ones should we share and which ones? He's like, he's not really a Thin Mint or a Samoa fan because he doesn't like coconut. He doesn't like the mint. So I'm like, okay, cool. I'm going to destroy these.
There you go.
I'm totally behind the curve. I haven't even had a single fucking tag along yet.
Well, geez, Louise, Mister.
Only there were some.
I know, right in the other room.
There's one in the office, and there's like 2 more in the cabinet, babe. So we'll just put them all in the fridge for you.
We'll
now I'm hungry, and now I've got to also look to see if there's a Wendy's between my house and yours.
There's one right at Palmer and McNeil. I don't know if that's on your way home, but it's real close. To some of the places we like to visit around the area.
Oh, it is 3. Oh my God, you have a Wendy's 3 minutes from here. Okay. So once we get done, I am going to get myself a chocolate Frosty with Thin Mint.
Do it. Also, please nobody dox us since I accidentally revealed where we live. That'd be great. We don't live exactly at that point, so good luck finding us.
No, this is just from where the recording studio is. They actually live sort of more kind of south, northwest, east-ish Austin.
Yeah. That's totally right for sure. All right, our friend Kevin, who lives with us, is here with Taco Bell because it's 9:30 at night. We haven't had dinner yet, and Will needs to get a Frosty. So I think we're gonna wrap this one up. A whole lot more South by Talk to come.
Yes,
y'all. We saw tons of movies. It would probably take us 8 episodes just talking about those to talk about every movie that we saw. Jim and Will saw more than me, but I mean, even for me, I saw a lot. So stay tuned over the next, weeks, months, whatever. We'll be bringing more South by coverage to you. But if folks want to chat with us between now and our next episode, maybe about South by, maybe about Project Hail Mary, who knows? Jim, where can folks find and interact with you online?
Oh, you can find me in my all of my movie ratings and sometimes reviews and my special lists, like my South by movies that are ranked and rated on Letterboxd. My handle on there is at JJP Out West, my initials plus Out West. And then you can also find me still on Facebook as Jim Pugliafico.
All right. Thank you. Will, how about you?
I'm predominantly on Facebook for just general social media BS. William Lindis there. And if you look on Letterboxd, I'm at the Movie Bear. My list for South by Southwest, all the films I saw there with all the scores, lives on Letterboxd as well. So come find me on one of those platforms.
Awesome. And be sure to take a look at my OF and my JFF pages, Only Films and Just for Films. That's where I post a lot of film related. No, I'm just kidding. Letterboxd.com is the place where I rate and sometimes review.
Do you have a profile on Popcorn Hub?
Nice.
Popcorn Hub. Yeah.
I love that. Oh my gosh, that needs to be okay.
He's got his mind working now.
Yeah, and it's spinning into things that are not appropriate for me to say out loud. But you can connect with me on Facebook. For now, I'm still there. I'm kind of debating stepping away from Facebook and just going to Instagram because I feel like Facebook is nothing but like politics and complaining these days. And I feel like I need more light and hairy-chested bears in my life. And Instagram provides a lot of that. So, but I'm still there for now. You can find me. And then on Letterboxd, I'm at iBradPro. And I've had a few of y'all add me and reach out. It's been great connecting with you and talking movies. I've been told I need to review more movies, like actually write reviews on there. So maybe I'll start putting a little more energy there. But yeah, so find us online, not in person. Please don't dox me. And we'll be glad to chat with you in between recordings. Thanks so much for joining us, folks. I know we had several folks who were with us live. Alex, great to see you in the chat. I'm catching up with your comments now. But thanks so much for tuning in, everybody, and we'll see y'all next time. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
We're all going to go get together in our kitchen right now and do hugs and things and talk about Frosties. And we wish you could join us, but you can't yet. But we're going to figure out a way someday, maybe.